these are the channeled messages for the full moon in Pisces, which is falling near the 1st and the 2nd. It's going to be the energy that's going to be fluid throughout the month. I am going to turn the camera around, so if you do hit this video and it's dark, yes, it's because I've got the camera around until we have everyone connect, and then I'll turn it back on where everyone can see me and we can do the messages. Now, I do have 4 more videos for the zodiac signs to do. I didn't want to leave you guys without the energy of the full moon in Pisces, because it is very psychic in nature and it depends on where you are energetically, you know, in the sphere of your spirituality, and how you will directly deal with the aspect of the full moon in Pisces. Now, you do tend to find on a full moon the energy is very heightened. You also tend to find that you do need to do clearing of your house. So it'd be a perfect time to actually discard things in your house that you don't need. Yes, I'm turning the camera around, don't worry. Also a good time to do the energy clearing and using amethyst and tourmaline. Now, even onyx would work really well, and that's because of psychic attacks and things to that degree linking to the 4D. If you are having issues sleeping, it is because the crown chakra is super heightened at the moment. So you're going to be highly receptible to energies. You're also going to be very, as an empath, you'll be very receptible to energies around you, tuning into people, things to that degree. So you do need to be mindful of that and definitely keep your fluid up during this time. Now, it can tend to be a purge, and it depends on how you tune into it. Sometimes, for those of you that are on the ascension path, you would already be tapping into energy prior to it occurring. And those of us a little bit further behind, yes, it does tend to hit, you know, closer to the time, and then it can resonate for 3 to 4 weeks. Now, it will link back to a previous state and a previous Pisces moon. So sometimes it can be up to 6 months. And being a full moon, it's an ending of a cycle. Now, we need to look at the aspects of what Pisces links to. It can be psychic energy. It can be 12th house energy. And it's psychology. It's our hidden resources. We also have Neptune and Pisces currently retrograde. So it's really amplifying that frequency of where we are, what are our hopes and dreams, where were the delusions and illusions, and really tapping into the matrix of manifestation. And I've been talking about this with my clients all week. And a lot of it does link to a channel that we're on. So sometimes when we're very stuck in an adverse situation, looking at it from a perspective of making peace with ourselves, having a look at the view, what are we learning out of it, and does it directly resonate with us? Now, I do feel a lot of us might be moving into this very fluid energy of acceptance. Now, initially it won't happen that way. It won't be feeling that way. It'll be deeply psychological. But as we move through it, we'll understand what's coming up. You also do need to be mindful of the fact that we do have Aries and Chiron retrograde, which is very Mars in orientation and energy. We're definitely by the 6th moving towards the 6th and the 9th. We're having that shadow energy all month of Mars going retrograde. So by the 9th, it's going retrograde. So what you're going to find is both the 1st house and the 12th house are highly active this month. And they had been last month, but we're really moving into it where it's amplifying. So if you do find that people are very triggered and people are getting very energetic, passive-aggressive, narcissistic, you know, at a lower frequency, basically. It's not necessarily that it's their innate demeanor. It can be, but it's the upgrade energetically, and it's the great awakening of the collective. So it is very psychic in nature. Now, I have actually written down each placement of how it will link to each zodiac sign. So for the air elements, Aquarius, it is your 2nd house placement. Now, this will come down to your self-esteem, your natural resources. You know, you're letting go of something. So if you find that suddenly you're challenged by something, really looking at that and psychically tuning into where that came from. So I do find this to be a good time to do a little bit of self-work, a good time to tap into writing down, you know, how you view yourself and how you see yourself. Are you looking external to yourself? Are you looking internal? And I'm really tapping into this from a very spiritual perspective to give you the best out of the situation. It's also utilizing what you have on hand. We're going to be having Jupiter going direct on the 13th. And with that, what you're going to need to understand is, we're moving forward. It's in Capricorn energy. You might feel you don't have the resources at your disposition, but it's really been quite resourceful in a sense, taking responsibility where you physically can, and not necessarily having everything at hand, but really being creative with the way in which you're utilizing it. So the second house placement can be your resources, your professional resources, your self-esteem base, what you energetically do, that you're directly proud of, what you have going for you, so to speak. So at a spiritual level, that's really going to benefit you. Now, Gemini, yours is your 10th house. So any hopes and dreams linking to your career sector, your employment, where you're wanting to go, where you feel maybe you were off path or on path, it's a time to actually meditate upon how far you have come and really tap into, again, your creative resources. It's probably quite useful with all of these energies at any time when we're really getting scared, clearing the lower chakras and doing the inner child work and, taking movement. So be it we need to move around to move that chi energy, it can really alchemize that to unblock some of the chakras where they have been blocked. But the 10th house energy can be really a need to shake up where you are maybe a little bit stagnant. Maybe you're tapping into, okay, what's my psychology surrounding this? Am I looking at this as physical work? Is this like balanced? Am I taking time for myself? How is this affecting my psyche? What is the energy of my psychic downloads I'm getting? Is this in alignment with my hopes and dreams? So I'm finding this a middle point of a checking ground. To really tap into ourselves and look at where we're changing and whether we're on path and on mission, and if we're not, what we're going to do about that. And for Gemini, being a Mercury sign, we do have the nodes in Gemini for 2.5 years. It's a real good time to be understanding that, even in your very local vicinity and your communication sector, it's really going to be transforming. If you speak your truth and your network, you're going to get the best out of the situation. If you are wanting to have employment and it is linked to technology, it can really benefit you also because the placement is there for the next 2.5 years. Now for Libra, this is the 6th house placement. There can be subjects to do with your health, your work ethics, getting things in order. And I don't know why I'm really picking up Mars energy linking. And the reason is because your shadow sign is Aries. So the yin and yang of that effect is the balancing of both frequencies. I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm just having a rat on first, and then I'll switch the camera around and I'll do the card reading. So, with you, Libra, what you need to understand is your 6th house placement. Be cautious. Some of your hopes and dreams, are they in alignment? Are you purging an old cycle and moving towards a new one? And with that, making sure that you are not moving into burnout. 6th house placement can be your health, it can be pets, it can be hopes and dreams, but it's really checking where you're applying the energy and potentially maybe even in a masculine format, be it you're a male or a female, to get the best out of your career sector. And again, trust your psychic downloads. You may be very highly connected to energy at the moment. So from an empath point of view, hi Dale, the camera's turned around shortly. From an empath point of view, you're going to find that you're very susceptible to energy. You may look at the frequency of Reiki and chakras. And again, you may be intuitively linking in with that at a very psychic level, where you're sensing those vibrations right now. So for the earth elements, we've got Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Capricorn, this full moon in Pisces is hitting your 3rd house. So I would strongly advise with your traveling and transportation to be highly cautious. The reason is because it is in your local area. There you go. It is in your local area, so it's communication. It's also Mercury energy of day-to-day routine. Also, in a sense, you need to be mindful because Pisces is psychology, and we do have Mars. We need to be mindful of our transport and our travel. So while we're doing this, during this transit, we do need to be highly cognitive of our surroundings so that we're not becoming accident prone. Hi, Dawn. I'm also seeing you're finding there could be potentially wounds, maybe even a lot of discussion of your belief systems, and maybe a bit of transformation in a sense of the way you perceive and see things. So, in a sense, if you're having issues with people and you're needing to communicate your truth, you may find this is a time in which you are doing such. Now, for your zodiac sign, there's quite a bit going on because we are having Jupiter going direct on the 13th. We're also having Saturn on the 29th going direct. So just really go easy with yourself, guys, because I have noticed, although the nodes shifted in May and it moved from Cancer and Capricorn over to Sagittarius and Gemini, there is some karmic energies kind of playing out in a sense with the south and the north node that we had there, and yours was the north node, so there's still that tying up of those loose ends that we're doing much until the end of the year, even though the new nodal energies are playing out. So a lot of maybe talking and manifesting of your dreams, and maybe coming to terms with things and discussing things from a psychological point of view and being very blunt and direct. Now, Taurus, yours is your 11th house placement. I do find networking around this time. You might be moving social crowds. You might be changing your hopes and dreams and aspirations. And again, really trust your psychic downloads into what this is entailing. Again, check your alignment as to, how is this affecting your psyche? The things that you're doing, are they in alignment with who you are? Are you getting frustrated because some things have been on delay? Some of you, this can even be long distance travel, and really wanting to go that distance. But again, with the 11th house placement, it's really wider group energy, socialization, hopes and dreams and aspirations. So really checking that and seeing where you're at. And if you feel guilty, remorse, sadness, or you feel like you're purging, look at the psychology surrounding it and try not to be so hard on yourself that it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It's just a temporary pause for you to reassess and look at the psychology surrounding it, your mindset and your manifestation abilities, and placing it into a 3D nature of moving things forward. But I do feel that a lot of you might be changing and it can become a little bit confusing. Now, Virgo, yours is hitting in your 7th house, so marriages, contracts, partnerships. I do feel you guys have a need to have a very spiritual connection. So, long are the days gone where you were satisfied with just traditional relationship, white picket fence, hunter-gatherer energy. There might be some psychology surrounding connections that you're dealing with. And there's a playing now, and that's interesting. Haven't heard a lot of those these days, have we? Wait for it to pass. I mean, they could take us on a trip, right? We are with the Pisces energy, but, metaphorically, not necessarily 3D. So with your relationship sector, marriages, contracts, partnerships, again, checking your emotions, checking in with yourself, maybe even purging connections of the past, looking at your career sector and wondering, where these things are going. A lot of you guys are going through major transformations. There's still energy of Virgo in the transits at the moment. So a lot of that can be hitting you where, having your placement in astrology is great, but sometimes it can be quite heavy in nature. We do have the energy on the 2nd that is quite heavy with Mercury in Virgo. So with Mercury in Virgo, you're really trying to help people understand where you're coming from, maybe even talking through with your connections, directly speaking about where you want to go in life. And some of you might have had a little bit of problems doing that. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. Maybe you have been tuning into it prior to articulating it, but there is a lot coming up to do with that. Some of you might be purging past connections. Some of you might be purging a spiritual connection, and then understanding that it doesn't mean it's forever. It's more there is an ending of one cycle and a beginning of a new one. So it's turning over of that new leaf. And so, it's a bit like a cycle. It doesn't mean to say the connection is over, but there is a transformation occurring within those connections directly. Now, for the fire signs, Aries, yours is your 12th house placement. So, this might have been quite an arduous time for you at a psychological level. You may have been dealing with maybe a toxic situation, or maybe a very, very deeply spiritual situation. So it depends on the sphere in which you're coming from. Your shadow sign is very similar in a sense that you're doing the yin and yang. You've got the Mars energy and the spirituality. So providing you can keep that balance there, you guys should be fine. But again, tapping into your psyche, tapping into your natural resources, looking at, what are you fighting for, and why is it you feel you are? Do you need to let something come to an end? And if it has come to an end, what is the psychology surrounding it? And, this can really be bringing it up at this point. If there is a cycle that you're needing to close out, be it you're just coming to terms with it and releasing, it can be a great time to sit with your thoughts, write it down. Maybe, in spiritual talk, sometimes we talk about writing it down, releasing it to universe, really doing something to that degree, sitting back and just sitting with the emotions and then allowing the new vibration to come in. And again, I would highly recommend amethyst, tourmaline, and drinking fluid during that time. And especially to maybe not use anything of a nature of substances. And that's for all of us collectively, because it is our psyche, it's our crown chakra. And to keep it open and clear, using things like alcohol and things to that degree can actually calcify it, which will prevent some of your downloads at the moment. So if you do find that you're having nightmares and things to that degree for any of you, really clear the energy in your room. Try not to have mirrors in your bedroom facing your feet. Using tourmaline as well, and smudging the house, using guided meditation to clear the energy. You should have a more rested sleep. And also, when you are tuning into anybody, realize that you can directly channel them. So it's very important that you understand how strong the energy is at the moment. So, Leo, yours is your 8th house placement. Some of you may be purging a person from the past. Some of you also are understanding the necessity to have a physical foundation in which you can directly depend on. So 8th house can be births, deaths, and endings. It's very much Pluto-orientated energy. And it's also maybe meditating upon loved ones that are passed over. 8th house placement can be previous energies. So, and this has been coming up very largely at the moment. There are our guides, especially with all the psychic Pisces energy coming through, where we actually have our guides with us at the moment and loved ones that have passed over. So if you are healing from that, my love and thoughts are with you. And if it is coming up for you and there is an anniversary date, be it's the date of their birthday, or something very synchronistic you shared, or the anniversary of their passing, their energy is very strong. But even when you tune into a person that has passed over, 9 times out of 10 their energy is directly channeled, so they are there present at that time with you. So try and smudge stick your house. That would be my highest advice for you guys. But you're ending a cycle. You're transforming. You're shedding skin, very much like the Kundalini awakening. So, move through that frequency. A lot of what you're ushering in is brand new energy that is very reliable, very dependable, and it's almost like you've had a physical upgrade. Now, Sagittarius, you guys from May had the nodes shift, and they did hit your 1st house placement. So much of who you were previously is directly transforming. It is hitting your 4th house. So Neptune in Pisces and the full moon in Pisces is really hitting your 4th house placement. So if there are subjects to do with psychology and home, which 4th house placement is very much psychology, so it's a double whammy for you, having a look at things, are you wanting to move home? Have things transformed? What are the hopes and dreams as to what you're trying to manifest? Maybe looking back at your notion of family and home, and what that meant to you at a spiritual level, and what it directly means to you now. Looking at the psychology surrounding those things so that you can make peace with it. A lot of us at the moment, from a very spiritual point of view, are breaking down the paradigms of what traditional families and home are. And, 4th house placement, we learn a lot of lessons about that, but collectively we've really been learning a lot of lessons in that energy too. So If you do find you're looking at home and things are changing and you're starting to create a new paradigm, it's extremely normal. This also can be a time behind, you know, conversations with partnerships, conversations with people around you, or to do with the psychology of, what makes you feel safe. Is it a direct 3D home? Obviously, we need food, water, shelter. Or is it something inside of you at a very spiritual level that you're deeply needing so that you can find that energy of safety? And it's a lot about your psychology and your belief systems, I feel. Now, water signs. We've got Pisces, first house placement. Geez, guys. Big downloads, big changes. Maybe you're becoming more realistic. Maybe you're looking at things from a very different perspective. And I just keep, whenever I tune into you guys at the moment, especially this month, you guys are really quiet. You're very, very observant. It could feel a little bit like shell shock. You just have this very unique energy coming through. Very observant, maybe counselor energy coming through. Some of you may have well and truly already had your upgrade. Some of you are changing your appearance, your demeanor, your self-esteem. And so people may not recognize you at the moment. So try to not take it personal. They may be projections and a bit of the mirror energy going on. Try not to take it personal. Out with the old, in with the new. And look at your belief systems surrounding how you see yourself, because we're always changing. So try and make peace with that. Now, Cancer, yours is your 9th house. And this can be to do with connections, religion, marriages, long distance travel, education, foreign countries. A lot of this has transformed, potentially a situation that played out, and this can be over quite a large span of time because the nodes were in Cancer and Capricorn. You guys have transformed. So there is a pit stop in the road where you're pausing and you're looking at life and you're thinking, okay, what am I going to do now? I've been there, I've done that, I've tried X, Y, and Z. What is my new paradigm and what are my new belief systems? And you do happen to have Gemini in your 12th house, I believe. So for you guys energetically, you're really like a high drive computer. Your crown chakra is very activated at the moment. So I keep hearing the term, all the things you said running through my head, and it's like you're really filtering things through and you're noticing people's kind of channels that they're vibrating from, what their opinions are, what their demeanors are. And like a high vibe matrix computer, you guys are really getting the downloads as to what the bigger picture is. So please trust in your intuition, your psychic downloads, and how you're perceiving and feeling things. And try not to shove yourself into a box of trying to be something for somebody else if it doesn't resonate with you, because you guys are really going through a massive spiritual transformation. So too is Capricorn. Now, the last one before I turn the camera on is Scorpio. Okay, your notion of luck. Sometimes we have a notion of luck coming through physically by having certain things. And again, understand that Pisces in Neptune is very dream state, it's very underwater energy. So that's why we're having a lot of oceanic activity. We're having a lot of energy with the weather at the moment because there's the Mercury energy, which is air. So you will tend to find during this time, especially moving towards the end of the year where we're having more eclipses, the weather is going to amp up and become hotter, colder, maybe a bit more hectic. But with your energy, with the 5th house placement, it's romance, children, and luck. So what that means, the things you're trying to usher into your life, some of you need to understand you're deeply psychic in nature. Also, you are very 8th house placement. So, shared resources and things to that degree. I do feel a lot of you are feeling it's on you. Sometimes that feels comfortable, sometimes it doesn't. But you do need to understand the aspect of our belief systems and the conditioning of people around us can accidentally project directly towards us. And it's sort of like I do feel that you're bouncing in between the 5D and the 3D. So energy is very fluid. 12th house of full moon in Pisces is very psychic in nature. Trust in the downloads of what you're getting. Sometimes your third eye, I feel, might actually get blocked for you perceiving and having a perspective with situations. So, again, you guys are natural psychic energies in general. Pay attention to your downloads during this time. If people are projecting towards you or having an expectation or maybe blocking what you feel is a truth, the only time it will trigger you is if you haven't alchemized that inside yourself. There can be a purge to do with this. Some of you might be nervous, to do with childbirth or things to that degree, and you're looking at it, is it a potential? Maybe it's hope and dream for you. Others of you, it can be your romantic connections, your luck, and, moving towards having luck around you and not feeling so cursed. There might have been a psychological situation or surrounding energies that have really caused a lot of conflict for you to gain an energy in that. Now, I have picked up the ruin, and I'm going to turn the camera around in a sec. Just sitting out the back, if I can turn it around. Knowing my luck, I'll turn the bloody thing off. Excuse my French. We're here. Okay, let's have a look. Now, on the first, the ruin that we have is this. I'm just out the back. And it is windy. Everyone's asleep. What's new, right? Okay, now the funny thing is this does link to Aries. Okay, it's fire. So it's fire energy. It's very Mars energy as well. And we deem it as Gibo. Now, this ruin, when I saw it, I did understand that when we're having a purgatory experience and we're looking at things, sometimes we can feel everything we have done has been in vain. Everything we've done has been for nothing. Now, look at the energy of Pisces. Pisces is psychic. It's our hidden resources. It's our psychology. It can be the house of imprisonment. But it's also our crown chakra. Now, in a sense, we do currently have Neptune in Pisces retrograde, as well as the full moon in Pisces, which will resonate for 2 to 3 weeks. So moving into the month of September, it's a vibration 9, which is all about completions, endings, and new beginnings. So sometimes we can have an ego connected to that. That means everything that we've physically gone through was in vain and for nothing. A lot of what you're learning through this process at the moment is the fact that we are reaching a point where we are understanding the aspect of manifestation. And I say that so very loosely, because when you really move through an ascension process and you understand how strong your energy is, which I'm trying to teach on YouTube, all it is a physical channel. You physically are energy. Sometimes we become too dense in 3D. So therefore we say, if I am to achieve X, Y, and Z, I have to do X, Y, and Z. And if you find the doors are closed, you can become frustrated, and it's very spiritual building, so to speak. So some of us, it will break us. Some of us, it will make us. But what breaks us does make us. I.e., if you've ever run a business and you've placed money into a situation and you've lost money because something in it went pear-shaped, you could physically say the glass is half full, which is quarter at the moment, or it's half empty. So in that analogy, if you've moved away and you've found that you don't have anything out of it, but you actually have, it's a perspective, okay? So with the perspective, one could say you lost money in the situation. Another could say, what did you actually gain from that? You found a way to never do that again. So you have actually learned something. And that could be incredibly valuable for all your future endeavors. You've learned something very valuable. Others of you, it may have been skills through the process. It might have been comprehension, compassion, and understanding. So some of us, especially because we do have Uranus and Taurus retrograde, which is soul versus money. What is value? We do have an ego connected to value and spirituality. Imprisonment is psychology and a belief system. So with this ruin, it links to nothing is for nothing. Gibo is a wonderful positive ruin, promising positive exchanges, connections and interactions, and fair play on all levels. On an esoteric divinational level, this ruin suggests that the quadrant has been or will be offered a gift from the gods. This may take the form of wisdom or insight or an opportunity. The quadrant is warned, however, of the responsibilities inherently in accepting such a gift. Your ascension path and the wisdom that you have, with it comes great power. and with great power comes great ability to manipulate. And in manipulation, it's almost like the art of war. You will understand you won't need to do that, because the thing is, when you've really learnt from a spiritual point of view, you'll understand that everything you physically need will come towards you. When we're stuck and we're egoic, we're away from our crown chakra, we're into the lower chakras and the third eye. That's when we're trying to manipulate the matrix. And you can manipulate the matrix, but not with the third eye, because your third eye is sphere-based frequency. It's a perspective and a perception and comprehension for education from a humanistic experience. But manifestation physically isn't manifestation. It is being in alignment, and it is allowing everything to flow like the wind. So when you detach from that vibration, anything and everything will come towards you in a very positive, lighter light. When you feel you're really thinking on it, pushing it, use this Pisces energy to comprehend and understand and tap into the infinite potential. So yes, there is, it does become very strong. So energetically, when you do really learn how to do that, and you think a thought and you feel it's adverse, you can tune out of it, you close that timeline down. When you're not and you feel a great vibration, you are owning it, you are embodying it, and you are acknowledging it. Similar to when you see signs and synchronicities. The old Norse philosopher that philosophizes that nothing comes for nothing, emphasizing the quadrant's onus to use the gift correctly and to acknowledge both the giver and the receiver, which is universe, source, Gaia. And it's equal give and take, very 8th house placement. Easy come, easy go. But again, it's really using your power effectively. So when you have purged, through your chakra systems and you're in alignment, whatever you're learning through this transit, it's going to benefit you, but you do need to trust in the process. Okay, now reversed, which it's really not. It does link to gifts, opportunities, partnership, love match, sacrifice, obligation. In the lower frequency, which technically, yes, we can have both. And the reason I say that is because the 12th house, which is the full moon in Pisces, is both higher and lower frequency. Some can call it a spiritual house. Others, if you're at a lower frequency, it can be the house of imprisonment and incarceration. So in the lower frequency, karmic union, divine revelation. So, yes, there can be, you're going to grow through it regardless. But it's just, do you want to take the high road or the low road? At worst, it foreshadows theft or betrayal. It may also caution against giving of oneself too freely or spreading oneself too thinly, which can result in depleted energy and loneliness. Healthy give and take, healthy boundaries. So if you know something's out of alignment, right, and you're doing it against, universe is giving you the download, psychic energy, linking to all the placements I mentioned. And then you do have an ability to transform that. You've assessed it, you've tapped into it. Okay, what do I want to do? You've had the download and you do nothing. Well, we can't complain, can we? So yes, universe gives us 3 warnings. It's very psychic. We get signs and synchronicities when we're listening. We're in acknowledgement, we're in alignment, and we're moving forward. Now, okay, on the 1st, there's a lot of energy to do with devil in the detail. Also, anything to do with home and our psychology and looking at the shadow is going to come up. On the 2nd, also with the full moon, it's psychology, it's downloads, minds, dreams, details, conflict, crosswise, arguments, subjects to that degree can come up. Now, your bravery and your mind and your communication, even your dream states are going to give you psychic downloads. You can literally have a lot of transformation happening at this point. Also, during the 2nd, you're going to find responsibilities of relationships and partnerships and health are deeply highlighted because we're having Venus and Virgo in conjunction to Saturn in Capricorn. So what the accountability is connected to those connections, weighing up the pros and cons, it really showing it to you. So again, there can be subjects to if there are lower frequency energies around or things aren't boding well within connections to that degree, looking at the devil in the detail, seeing if you can fine tune it, but also looking at the massive responsibility linking into marriages, contracts, partnerships. So this is a huge time for assessment, especially linking in because the full moon is going to be in Pisces. Between these 2 days, it is very major in energy for us to sit with that frequency and decide whether it's yay or nay and manageable, so to speak. What else do we have coming through? Okay, we're having Mercury trining Saturn. Mercury and Virgo trining Saturn on the 3rd. Now, looking at your paperwork, looking at your documentations, what is, where is everything at? Is everything, leveled up? What you're going to have with Mercury in Virgo trining Saturn and Capricorn, you're going to be able to look at what the responsibilities are. You may on the 3rd have a deeper ability to actually look at the details and move through them to be able to maybe get to higher ground, sort things out, so to speak. So this can be a lot of paperwork and signing of documents and things to that degree, a lot of communication and a lot of quality systems, so having to perfectify and tidy things up. We're also having Mercury in Virgo sextiling Venus in Cancer, which will flow beautifully. So if there have been complications, miscommunication of family, connections, love interests, because it's still Venus energy, there will be an opportunity to actually highlight some of those things, and you'll find on the 4th energy should flow quite well. Now, Venus in Cancer on the 4th also is squaring Mars. So if there are squabbles to do with, again, family and battles, so you'll have the higher and the lower frequency, you're really going to see the stark polarities. So if there are people that aren't working with you, you're going to see the ones that are with you and the ones that are not. And it doesn't mean that they're not with you. They're just on a different channel because of the full moon in Pisces. So just white lighting yourself, using twin blinds, stepping back, allowing them to make a bunky dunk of themselves and just breathe it through. And, in the house, we've got 15 in the house and 5 likes, so it's 155. A lot of changes, guys. Any questions while we're here? I'll pull 3 cards and we will see the overall energy for the Pisces moon. I hope this has given you guys a little bit of information on how to handle it. If you are having issues with your room and you do, want some details, I do remember doing a video. I'll have to do another one, and it's how to lay your room out. Don't have your feet facing an open doorway. Try not to have it facing a mirror or a shiny surface, even a TV if it's at foot level from the bed, because what you'll find is if you're sleeping on the bed, look at my cards, they're so loved, right? And your feet are facing a shiny surface, your psychic portal is through your feet and your head. So you don't want to have that happen. So if the window is above, that's fine. If it's down here like that, that doesn't work. Any shiny surface, open door or window, that's a no-no. Even on the side, it's a little bit better for a mirror, but I potentially prefer, especially with such heavy Pisces energy, and if you're deeply psychic, to try and not have a mirror in your room, point blank, Sarah. Now, do clean it, especially at this time between now and I'd say the 9th. Make sure that even through the whole time of Neptune retrograde in Pisces, keep your mirrors and your reflective surfaces clean. That's because you do find dark energy can actually be held inside energies that are reflective. Nostradamus would scry in a bowl and he would always keep it covered. It's so that darker energies, look at an onion, it absorbs energy, right? Similar situation. So you need to keep that quite neutral in nature and just keep your house clear. If you're finding that there's agitation in the house, smudge stick your house, air the home out, and you're bringing new energy into it. You can also place a plant in the house, which will bring good chi energy as well. Or look at anything to do with feng shui. But yes, dark energy at the moment, so be careful. If you're having iffy dreams, that again can be due to a combination of, lower frequency activities, illicits, i.e., because 12th house placement can activate these things. Not the best time to be doing it, and that's from a psychic perspective and an energy perspective. If you have to, you have to, but just be mindful because you might have, it's a bit like eating chocolate and going to bed. You may be inclined to have nightmares. Feng Shui, yeah. So, okay, a lot of clarity, a lot of downloads. Duh. We're in the Ace of Swords. So, yeah, be strong. Understand things are transforming. Okay, some of these burdens are going to be dropped. So whatever they are, it's, dropping of situations, but deep clarity and thought. So, this could be having to be very strong. Maybe looking at your habits. This is Pisces as well, funny enough. Looking at it and going, okay, what do I physically need to do to rise above the situation? But it's sharp thought. You may even be with the Mars energy, be very sharp in attitude when you're speaking to people, and that's to create the healthy boundaries. And again, really looking at your dream states. Some of these things are tying up loose ends, letting go of things that no longer serve you. Also looking at your connections, the 7 energy, and tapping into your spirituality. 7 is a very, very spiritual energy also. Yep. Whatever this is going to do to us, it's going to make us very intelligent from the point of view that we're not going to do something that doesn't resonate with us. I'll pull a chakra card. Oh, they want that one. Oh, interesting. Okay, there's 2, and I did mention this. Make sure your lower chakras are balanced because inner child wounds, right? And aggression, which is hunter-gatherer energy. It also will link into Mars because, the lower chakras at the moment for masculine energies, these are the 2 main ones that they're going to need to balance. Yes, to a point, the third eye. If you do find you're tapping into someone and you're getting headaches by thinking on them, it is because they are coming from an egoic experience, which is more in a lighter way of saying it. They're trying to understand what transpired. So they're thinking on it, but sometimes you accidentally, by thinking on it, you do come to terms with it, but you can accidentally manifest it to occur. So it's sort of stagnancy, but you do purge it because you get tired of thinking on it and it starts giving you a headache. Also, when you are thinking on someone, if you do start yawning, it's also giving you an inkling and an indication that there's toxic energy around them. So just breathe it in and blow it out. And that will help alleviate it and get rid of it. But you need to envision it leaving you. So it's not linking in, attaching. Also, if you find a person is speaking very negative, you can actually open your hands and it will bounce back directly to them. So for you guys, if you're finding that you're very tired, you're very feeling vulnerable and going through abandonment, feeling unmotivated and lack of co-creation, balance the 2 lower chakras, solar plexus, sacral chakra, in preparedness for what's coming. Okay? Any questions while I'm here? Before I go to bed, I'm going to clear my chakra and get some R&R. I'm going to pack up. Really heavy energy between the 5th and the 9th. Okay? Because we're going to have Mercury entering Libra. So a lot of conversations to do with balance of what needs to happen, maybe contracts. Again, marriages, contracts, partnerships, and conversations in relation to this. So nutting over the problems, looking at things. This can be court and things to that degree. And for those of you that are Virgo or, Libra, happy birthday. For those of you in this month and moving in, happy birthday. The 6th, we're also having the nodes sextiling Lilith. So looking at the shadow side, there's light and dark, but again, talking about these things, talking about the ugly, talking about the unspoken, getting things off our chest, taking time maybe this month to actually look at the need during what's happening in the collective, of how it's affected our psychology, but also how it's benefited us. What has it given us? Glass quarter full or glass quarter empty? How do we want to look at it? Do you know what I mean? Then Mars goes retrograde on the 9th, and the Sun in Virgo is going to be in conjunction with Neptune and Pisces. So we'll touch base prior to that, and we will have a chat about that. So it's go, go, go. With the energy of Leo coming through, we do need to understand that things are, you might be, from a Venus perspective, moving towards the energy of wanting to be more assertive. We do need to be mindful of ego, though, because yes, it's Sun energy, but at the same time, we can be very abrupt with Aries and Chiron retrograde, Mars going retrograde, and you're more inclined to have a lot coming at you. So it's going to test our psychology this month. But it's also spiritually kind of unplugging that so it doesn't trigger us anymore, and we can move forward fluidly. Anywho, I hope that's helped. If you need a private booking and you want me to assess your chart and look at your zodiac as to what's happening, or you want me to cross-reference between yours and a soulmate's, yours and a twin's, be it it's connected to your career or anything to that degree, touch base with me. The website's there. Very simple booking system. And jump in quick, because yes, we will be quite full on this month. It's an ending of cycles. I had to go, really. I hope it's helped, Al. I didn't want to leave you guys without you. I'm so on the ball usually. Just Mars has been really mucking with me. It's my shadow sign. Even though most of the energy, I have the strongest energy, it's very Scorpio in nature. I've got Cancer, Libra, Venus house Scorpio, which is very Pluto, 8th house placement. Huge lessons in that area. Unless you're mysterious, I'm like, yeah, okay then. Yeah, there's got to be a sleuth. I think I was Inspector Gadget or something, I was a PI agent. I think they say with Venus and Scorpio, you could have been a madame. I'm like, yeah, whatever. You can tell me after I'm almost finished. Anywho, my daughter wants to come out and say goodnight to me before I go to bed. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Hold up. Take a number. She's like looking at me going,
old lady clothes.
What are they?
I don't know, but I feel like an old lady.
You feel like an old lady? I'm pretty sure they're Louis Vuitton.
No, imagine me coming home to my husband. Honey, get the apples. Make them crumble.
My sister-in-law gave my sister some beautiful satin pink pajamas, and then my sister gave them to my daughter. I know their name brand, but she says
Peter
to me,
Alexander.
Okay, Peter Alexander pajamas. Oh, yeah.
It's quite expensive.
Anywho, so she feels like she's a what?
An old lady.
I know, she feels like she's an old lady in her satin pink pajamas.
With my mama.
Yeah. She said, could you imagine if I come home to my husband like this? Well, I don't want to imagine that because you're 17. Anywho, I love you guys. It's the evening here. I'll be back tomorrow and we'll finish those zodiac signs, and then I will get on to the twin flame energy. We're getting there. Love and light, guys. Bye.